All righty. Good evening, everyone. It's Ron. December 30th, Monday evening, a little after 6 p.m. We get started and see if we have questions. Before I want to got a little story for y'all before I see if we have any questions. You guys can't see this, but I'm holding up a picture. Uh, my cousin, who was elderly, was doing some house cleaning, and she found some old photos, and one was a picture of my dad. And when she found these old photos, she thought about us, and she immediately called my sister and gave my sister this photo of my dad. You can recognize it's him, but it's a picture of him when he was 18 years old. And I am just delighted to have that. It means so much to me. Uh, why they didn't sell smiles back then, I don't know, but I don't think he ever smiled in a photo since I knew him. But that's kind of how I recognize him in this photo is because he's not smiling. And so Anne had some copies made and it needs cleaning up. It's torn and there's a place she's gonna send it to get it restored and cleaned up a little bit. But I love this picture and I wanted it just the way it was. And I don't mind getting a cleaner version of it, but I wanted this version as well because of the age of it and what how it looks. But the story more to that is the fact that I remember when I was 18 and I was going off to school and I was catching the Greyhound bus and this car came up behind the bus. And I may have told you guys this story. The car came up behind the bus and got the bus driver to pull over. And lo and behold, it was my dad. And my dad stopped the bus and he called me off the bus and he said, I have a gift for you. And he gave me a watch. He said, I saw this. He said, I was passing by this store and I saw this and I thought about you and I want you to have it. Now, the amazing thing about that was my dad had never given me anything. Whenever like Christmas or birthdays, he'd give mom money and mom always bought him things, but nothing came from his hands. So this shocked me. And I got emotional about it, but it just kind of gave me a high, a rush, right? So lo and behold, uh, it wasn't 6 months later, someone stole the watch. And so when I saw this picture, all of that came back to mind. But what also came to mind is I was still angry about somebody stealing my watch. And I had not forgiven that person. And that was the first thing that popped in my head when I saw this, when I looked at this, and that story ran through my head. And I thought, Ron, there's a part of this you still haven't dealt with. There's a part of this that still bothers you. And anyway, forgiveness is very strong, and anger and resentment and all that stuff can eat away at you. But I do not doubt for a minute that, because it seems like when I think I'm doing okay, when I think I've made one hurdle, something else comes along to show you, wait a minute, while you're in your strong point, why don't you go ahead and deal with this? So that's something I gotta, because I've said it before. I'll say, oh yeah, I'll forgive him. But I hadn't. I could tell the way I felt when that story came back to my heart. So, but anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. It's a good thing. I'm going to get there. I love the picture. That's part of it too. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you for sharing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good evening, Ron. This is
Good
Gene
evening.
in Philly, man. And I sincerely appreciate, you sharing that because I think, when we have had our discussions and we talk about the joy of the Lord as our strength, or we talk about experiences or things that we're growing through, and to be able to have a possession such as that, is what the true riches is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, people can
Yeah.
give us material things, right? But just to be able to have something that that is dear to your heart, or that gives you, that rejuvenation to realize that this is something that's precious. You know what I mean? And I think that in the times that we're living in, even as of now, what are those things that we cherish? What are
Yeah.
those things that we hold on to where now we can appreciate letting go of what we know that we want to just let go, and to hold on to the things that bring, not just bring a smile to us, our face,
Yeah.
but bring
Yeah.
joy, Ron. I mean,
Joy.
oh man,
Yes.
we need this. I'm saying, as a family, we need this. What things that we need to cherish, that we can talk about, that, hey, look, man, I'm so glad that I have this picture. I'm so glad that I can, recall that my dad had gave me one of his watches, that, like, I have the chains, like the
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I still hold on to those things, but I'm just saying, Ron, it's a blessing to hear you share that, man. Thank you for letting me share. I'm done.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. I knew you guys would understand, and the joy that the picture bring, I would do it a disservice not to forgive. You know, so it helps me. This whole thing is been an eye opener to me. So, but thank you. Um,
Ron,
yes, yes.
this is Evelyn.
Hey,
Nothing is coincidental. And it's amazing how you're talking about this at the end of the calendar year, to let go and forgive.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of people who will not forgive, won't deal with themselves. So it's amazing how you bringing this up at the end of this calendar year, because it's something that we all need to do. Let
yeah,
go.
let go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I like what you said. Everything has value when we say things. It could be negative or whatever, but what you're talking about really deals with what we got to deal with. Hopefully, we all can do it by the end of the year, but if not, it's a work in progress. It's something that we all have to do. But thank you for sharing that. That's all I wanted to say.
thank you. I appreciate it, and uh, I'll get there. I even thought about the ancestors. I thought, a lot came into play in my head when I saw this photo. Even looking at him at this age, you know. But anyway, thank you. Any questions or comments about anything that we may have talked about, or didn't talk about, for that matter? Anything that comes to you?
Right, Ryan, this is Charles.
Hey, Charles.
And so, my question is,
Hmm.
I, I was reading and then I went to thinking about it. It said, uh, heaven or the spiritual world is just like the physical world. Now, I'm still trying to. I know nobody can understand what I'm trying to say. It's just trying to put it out there. Uh, I know we already been told, like, what goes on in the physical world is a replica in the spirit world. So help me to understand what they mean by is whatever's in the spirit world is a replica here in the earth, and whatever's in the earth is a replica in the spirit. Help me to understand what they're trying to say. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I'll give you my answer, Charles, and I ask others to help with this as well. Uh, we've been taught, looking at these things religiously, Charles, that these are talking about physical places, and we look at it that way. We don't see, when we talk about God, for instance, and we talk about the devil, for instance, or Satan, or whatever we want to call it. We look at these things as being something set apart from us, something that is stronger than we are and can overtake us. But the truth of the matter is, the heaven and the earth thing is talking about different realms of the human. It is talking about who you are. It is talking about, for lack of a better way of saying it, that or that higher self, as we used to call it. So, and even when you talk about God and an adversary, we've talked about you being Elohim. The adversary, Charles, is your thoughts. The same adversarial thoughts that you have are not the same one that I have. So it's not some universal devil out there that attacks everybody. It's you attacking yourself. It's you loving yourself. It's you being kind to yourself. And when you recognize that, when you become intimate with again, that higher self or that heavenly self, that place of enlightenment, when you learn to draw your strength from that, then the vision of everything else begins to change. In other words, your mindset moves and changes. So that's what I see there. It all of that describes you, who we are, and moving from the religious self, or even seeing ourselves as being totally physical, to seeing that we are spiritual beings. Can somebody explain that and maybe in different words to help me out, please?
Uh, yeah, again, GC, yeah, Charles, I appreciate that question because the first thing I thought about was, you know how we say, as so above, so below, and we look at it in terms of heaven and earth, and how sometimes that creates a separation, but there's no separation. I think what we're learning now as we look at the Kemetic teachings, we're beginning to see that it's all oneness. And so another thought that I have too is like, I'm living in heaven right here on earth now. Now, again, I mean, and that's just, my thought, because, it's not the by and by. It's like right now, how do I experience living day to day? And I think something that you said a long time ago, Charles, where you say, you know, um, where the spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. And it was something that you were saying about the spirit. And so I think that when we are operating in that spiritual realm, that's like heaven for me, the joy of knowing that I can experience the fruits of the spirit, love, joy, happiness, gentleness, kindness, patience, and all of the principles that we are referring to in terms of my eye. So there's a lot in there, Charles, but I appreciate the question because that's how I look at it in my spirit, is to know that I can be happy today. I can be joyful today. I can live in harmony today. And we're going to sometimes have distractions, right? We're going to sometimes get pulled in that negative thinking, but I come back to who I am. I am Elohim, and I am the creator, having this human experience. So, Charles, I don't know if that helps a little bit, but I just look at it in that way, that, as above, so below. So, again, I appreciate what nature is teaching us and vice versa. And then at the same time, we create our heaven, if that makes sense, Charles. And everybody, I'm done.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
That makes a whole lot of sense because the whole time when you and Ron was talking, you're telling me it's about me.
Yeah.
It's where my mind, where's my mind is at that, to be. It's hard to put it in words. I don't think I can say it make me see that when you say that, it make me see it's talking about me. It's not talking about the whole, it ain't talking about no world. We talking about you, how you see yourself in this world.
Yeah. And part of I'm sorry, George,
No,
go ahead.
I'm excited, man, because
Yeah.
I'm reminiscing now when we talk about New Year's Eve, but I can recall when Charles was talking about his life death experience.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Man, that was, I'm just saying, see, that came to my mind when I hear Charles' voice, but that's the joy.
Yes.
That's the spirit. That's the heaven, you know what I mean? That's so above, so below, where we know that there's a God that will never leave us nor forsake us. So again, Ron, I apologize, man. I'm just excited, man,
Apologize. Yeah.
just to be on the call, man. I'm done. So
Thank you. Anyone else to add? I think the only other thing that came to my mind is as we recognize who we are and know that we are the universe and universe is us, it makes it easier for others to see enlightenment because they see you. They see you and they're around you, and what they see isn't so much the physical Charles, but how he carries himself, what he does in the face of adversity, how he looks when things happen in his life, family things and other matters in his life. So you become enlightenment for your environment. It is not just a single thing. But thank you for the question, Charles. Anyone else?
Thank you and George.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Question, comment?
This is Vermel. I have a
Hey.
question.
Okay.
The last couple of days we revisited Ptah, meaning Elohim, and we said, or I understood it to be Ptah represents a spoken word. Do I have that correct?
George.
Yeah, Vermel, yeah, what we're saying is that Ptah came out of, right, the waters of Nun. And
Right?
Ptah being that energy that he is, Ptah is Elohim. And just as it is said in the scriptures, God named, the names, and in the Kemetic teaching, it's talk about now Ptah calling into existence and naming everything. So that would be correct to say that Ptah, spoke the spoken words.
We,
I'm
excuse me,
sorry.
George, we said atum as a characteristic of Ptah,
Right.
being the spoken word.
Absolutely.
So then the question that came to my mind is then when we know we are Elohim, when we believe it,
Yes.
is that the action of becoming the word? I hope I'm asking. Yeah.
Well, and yes, I would say yes.
Say again, Vermeil?
Okay. If we said Ptah's spoken word, so then when we individually or as one understand that we are Elohim, are we becoming the word?
Yes, we
Are
are.
we the action of the word?
You're both.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you're both. You're once I go back to Nick saying on the board, set your intent. Your intent is to be truth. Your intent is to find out who you are. And we're saying the same thing when we say Elohim and Ptah. And I hope that's not confusing anybody. We're just using both of them to get everybody familiar with the terminology. So we are becoming as we learn. Uh, and as you become, it's not so much that we have to give it's I think sometimes we're so used to seeing things academically or from that from an educational perspective. This is something that we experience, and this is something that you become strictly out of desire, and you open yourself up to this, make space for it. So as we become, your actions will change, the way you're thinking will change. All of that is a part of it. So Atum and Ptah are the same thing. Just like you hear my words, you say that's Ron speaking. That's Ron's voice. That can't be separated. Your words and actions cannot be separated from you.
So yes, so Ron, and again, as you speaking, and I appreciate Audrey, is coming to acknowledge when we talk about we are the creators having a human experience, right? As Elohim, the two laws that the Kemetic, teaching speaks of is the law that we are the creators having human experience. So the creative word, attune, is what we speak. You know what I mean? I am the one, who can make a difference. What are we creating? And as creators, we are one, with Elohim, we all are one yet many. And so I think that that's the spoken or that's the creative word, or those are the characteristics that we all have, that we can speak that which we desire, our thoughts, our words, our actions. And the second cosmic law talks about we are to treat the creator's creation as we treat the creator in us. So again, I'm just trying to look at it in terms of your question to say that, we as Elohim have those characteristics to create or to speak into existence that what we desire. And that's how I'm understanding it, if that makes sense, Ravel.
It does, and that really helps me unfold my understanding. I appreciate all three of you commenting on that. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And Ron, may I add one thing to what everyone has said too?
Of course.
I agree with what was said about Atum and the point that Audrey made too. And when you say we are becoming, if I look at it from the scriptural standpoint, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I think the becoming is becoming aware of who I am. I don't think there's a separation where all of a sudden I'm becoming something that I never was before. It was always there. The potential for me, there was no separation. I am just now becoming aware of what that means. And when we say the attune is the spoken word, Pastor made a point of saying something yesterday that I don't want us to miss. Spoken word is not always audible. It's not me saying, let there be, I'm going to be this in the new year, I'm going to do this. When we talk about setting your intentions and just be, a sense of being is me speaking, even though I am not speaking audibly, my actions and everything are lining up. So I'm speaking in a manner that's setting my course and changing everything because of I don't know if you want to call it being still or being focused, being purposeful in knowing that I am not going to swerve to the left, to the right, and I am just setting my intent and being. So this spoken creative force, this energy that creates, Pastor said on yesterday, it was not always audible words, and I did not want us to miss that. And so I think that's very important too, because I'm creating by setting my intentions and just being and meditating and changing the general outcome and atmosphere of everything around me. So I don't want to miss that opportunity to recognize that I'm being enlightened to who I already am, who I've always been. And that even when I'm not using my vocal cords to speak, even though there are vibrations with the speech, I'm still speaking in a way and speaking things to existence through my thoughts, through my actions, as well as my words, if that makes any sense. And I just wanted to share that too.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kathy. I am becoming aware of who I am. I've always been this. I'm just becoming aware of it.
And Ron, and you spoke about that before in terms of the process of becoming, and that's what in the language in terms of the Kemetic it talks about kepara tep sepi, which is simply the process of becoming.
Yeah.
I mean, and so as we continue to vibrate, as the frequency continue to come across, the waves,
Yeah.
we're all in that oneness where we're experiencing in different ways, but it's still all one, if that resonates a little bit. I'm done.
Well, Mel, does that help?
Most certainly it does.
Yeah. Um, the questions are beautiful. The energy of them, and because we do this. I think the collective part is we bring each other along and we strengthen each other when we talk about things like this. Like for example, Pastor talks all the time about calling the ancestors, and I might be there already, but I just think there's something missing with me, something I'm not quite seeing there. Uh, so I'm with you. Just keep asking questions till you feel comfortable, till you get it, till you get it. So that's where we are. That's why we're here. That's why we do this.
I appreciate that.
Um,
Thank you,
so-
everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Going back to, oh, sorry, was somebody else gonna talk?
No, I yield, Audrey. Go ahead.
When George was talking about becoming, and then what Kathy said, that goes back to as above, so below,
Mhm.
because as we become that entity that we were meant to be, then we come to a realization that yes, we are the spoken word. We can bring into existence and we can determine how things will go. It's just sometimes getting past our own physicalness and our own mindset in terms of its physicalness, if you understand what I mean. But yes, as we grow in this and we become more attuned to the spirit, we become what we need in terms of echoing what's above and what's below.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
Great.
I
Great
hope you understood what I just said, Charles. If not, just ask me a question.
I think that sums up both questions. I think that, yeah. Any questions off what Audrey said or Kathy or George for that matter? Anybody? Does it make sense to you?
In response
That
to what
makes a lot
Audrey
of
said,
sense.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it makes sense.
My comment to that was going to be a kind of question, Audrey. So it's like shedding a skin that we ought not to be wearing. If I put it in a physical sense, I'm uncovering who I am spiritually and who I really am, as opposed to all the dressings from my worldly experiences.
Maybe you're taking off the fig leaves again.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
that works.
That's a good analogy though. I hadn't thought about taking off. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Was someone else going to say something? Evelyn, did you have something?
I do, but it was pertaining to what was earlier discussed, which was good. I mean, it was very profound and very explained very beautifully. But I don't want to take us. This is still. I wanted to go back to the new year that I had spoke about earlier, but I can always bring it up at a later time if you want to just stay with what we're talking about now, because it is good what we're talking about, but I can always put my question on hold.
Well, I think we're in a good place. I think
Hello, this is Sheldon. I wanted to say one quick thing before we pivot about as how exactly you say it? So the above below. Somebody say it for me.
As above, so below.
Okay, thank you, GC. So anything that we learn in the physical through our everyday experience, whether that be patience, compassion, love, in terms of growing and advancing in a sense in terms of not doing what we are, but advancing that awareness, as Kathy said, that doesn't just take place on the physical realm in a sense. That actually takes place in the spiritual realm as well in terms of that growth. So even though we already have that capabilities and we are that thing in a sense, it rolls over. So not only does it happen here in the physical, but it rolls over into our being. So as we were talking about yesterday in terms of being ancestors, for example, all of that continues on with us, that growth. So think about it. Every time you grow, that is spiritual growth taking place. That is never taken from us in terms of that development, and it keeps on going. If you will, it goes through a multitude of lifetimes, or it is something that is infinite and never ends. Oftentimes we, or at least I can say myself, and I have come a great deal in moving beyond that, but seeing things only in terms of this lifetime. Excuse me, but it becomes so much more powerful when you realize that, and I guess innocently not beating ourselves about things, that this is something where essentially when we talk about the word, we talk about Elohim, the entire world, the entire universe grows. It doesn't just grow here in this moment, but it grows forever in a sense. The entire universe advances as our awareness changes and grows all at once. I'm done.
Beautifully said. You made me think about something. One of the things I want to talk about today, if we got there tonight, if we don't get there, we don't get there. But I want to talk about something Pastor said yesterday, and I want to bring up intimacy and talk about that a little bit. But one of the rabbis, when I was looking something up, he describes it as cultivating land. Intimacy, getting to know somebody, you're cultivating land. You're constantly creating space. You're constantly creating new opportunity for growth and whatnot. So it kind of goes in to what Sheldon was just saying. Anybody else? Evelyn, did you want to share with us your thoughts?
If nobody else have anything they want to elaborate on or talk about, but what we're discussing now, because again, I can always wait and talk about or ask my question. Okay, so I know we're approaching the end of the year, which is on what? The New Year's Day is on Wednesday. But
Yes.
to me, it feels like we already entered a new year. It just feels different to me. And I'm just wondering if anyone else is feeling, I don't feel myself. I don't have any energy. It's like I can't sleep. It's like something is about to happen. And I can exercise, but whatever I'm doing is not working. Meditation isn't working. I just feel different, and it's not a bad thing because I do have. I mean, I can still work every day or whatever. I'm in a good mood, but I just feel different. It's just not the same. So my question to the family is, have we already entered into a new age or a new year? But the calendar says different. I do believe we have moved in there. I just asked my own question. I believe we have moved there spiritually, and it just feels different for me. I don't feel the same, if that makes sense. That's my question to the family.
Thank you. Anyone want to start?
I can say a little bit about it. From what I hear what you're saying, I might not be right on it. You remember Rep said, if you in the spirit, there's no time. You got a lot of space, but no time. So I feel like that's how you're feeling now, that you're already there. I mean, you ain't got to wait like everyone else saying on the new year come in. If you're in the spirit, you're not in with time or anything holding you back. You're already there. Now I get somebody else to help clean that up.
Oh, you did good, Sir Charles. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely you did.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone else can recall, but I think that Pastor Richard spoke about that in terms of us, experiencing, the inauguration right at the time that he was addressing it. That we're moving into, we're in that new year, in terms of just where we are spiritually. So I think again, Charles, you just put it right where it needs to be, right? In the now time.
There was another part of her question, though, I want us to include in the answer. And she talked about what's going to happen. My question is, what do we want to see? Along with, can 614 please mute? Everybody, please check, see if your phone is muted. Thank you. As we approach this thing, and I agree with Charles, we're already there. But what is it we want to see happen? Does everybody has that feeling of anticipation?
For
Does
me,
anybody?
for Mel, yes. I have
Okay.
that same feeling of anticipation, like something is about to burst forth. Yes.
Do you see the something as being negative or positive?
I only label it as something we need, we being all of mankind, but that's the only way I'm choosing to look at it, as
Okay.
something we need. It's an opportunity.
Anybody else? Do you think we're already in this age? Um, here's how here's what makes it easy for me to to see things. I picture myself as a young mother, and I have babies. And I'm constantly talking to my babies. I'm feeding them, I'm bathing them, I'm teaching them, I'm loving them, I'm showing them how to love themselves, and I'm nurturing them. I'm showing them, I don't forget, because we did not have the opportunity to grow up in an environment that from infancy we were being taught by God. We were brought to church, but I mean on a personal level, this thing that we now know or we call education had more to do with finding self and recognizing who you are more than knowing the ABCs and math, although that was a part of it. So as a young mother and father, as a young parent, I'm teaching my children who they are, and I'm teaching them to be prepared for all things. I'm teaching them that love and kindness is the forefront of who they are. I'm teaching them how to be and recognize their Elohim, and even as far as looking at astronomy and the mapping of the stars and the planets lining up and all these things and what they mean. What does it mean when we talk about the universe? So I'm being all that I know to be out of love and compassion, and I'm willing to give all of myself because that's what I see myself as being. That is my purpose, to be this parent, to bring up these children. So when I walk in that way, uh, whatever happens, happens. If it happens for my good, I hope to see it. If it's something that else happens, then I hope, just like the election did, it turned out to be something extremely positive for us. Something that we may not have seen. Would we be here if Kamala had run that election? Where would we be? We'd be someplace different. And maybe we'd be on the road to come, bringing us back here, but it would have been a different journey. So I look at myself now, not as an isolated guy standing by himself and gets together with a beautiful group of people 3 days a week, and hopefully in the other 4 days nothing happens to yank my chain. Uh, I recognize that where I am and who I am and what I have been privileged with, nothing in the earth can shake it. So my eyes are open for the beauty, the things that come and bring me balance. Like I said, when I talked about my picture, or the first thing I saw, Ron, you still got to handle that, buddy. You still got to handle that. So these things are going to still come to us, and no matter what anybody does, from the news media to a shirt and tie, nobody can hurt us in anything. They help us to focus on who we are and see who we are and walk in that light. So I think the thing that we have been waiting for, the age of Aquarius or anything of that matter, is already here and it's waiting on us. As Vamil's question earlier, we are the action, we are the verb that pushes things along. We are the ones afraid that sat in the upper room who are not afraid anymore. We are coming out of the upper room. That's what this new year to me is a symbol of. So I love where we are, and I'm at the place where I'm saying, stay tuned. Let's do this. Let's do this. Anybody else? Anybody see something different or want to add or what?
This is Angela. I got a question. Talking about the new year. It's a scripture in Exodus. I think I want to say, but I was looking. But I want to say Exodus 3 and 4, and it talks about the new year, and it says that the month where it says the beginning of spring. But they have Exodus 3 and 4. This was around the Passover after they were brought out of Egypt.
Mhm.
And I think it's another one is Exodus 2 and 12. But I asked Pastor Richie about this before, but it's the word Abib, Abib, and when you look it up, it says something April, or I think it's March or April. That's the new year, really the new year, but they changed it. I think the calendar, I think it was the Gregorian calendar, and I think they changed, I switched, if I'm not wrong, to the Julian calendar, but yeah, I just wanted to bring that up.
Okay. Read the first verse you mentioned, Angela, because I just want to make sure I got your question. You said Exodus, what now, 3? Did anybody else hear? Are you muted, Angela?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was muted. I said I was looking it up on my phone, but I'm looking in Exodus. It had Exodus 13:3. I'm trying to see if that's the one that I was.
13:3.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking to see if that's.
And Moses said to the people, remember this day in which you went out from Egypt, from the house of slavery. For by a powerful hand the Lord brought you out from this place, and nothing leavened shall be eaten. On this day in the month of Abib, what is Abib? It means a grain. It's a grain or a sprout. Or on this day, excuse me, I lost my place. In the month you are about to go forth, it shall be when the Lord bring you to the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Hivites, the Jezebites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall observe this rite in this month. Um, I spiritually, I don't know what that month means. It means a grain or a shoot or something, but to me, it's talking about new growth. Or I see the significance in it, Angela, as being this is it is saying this is a spiritual thing, and it doesn't matter what you are used to, what man says this month is, or what powers in the earth have in store for you at this time. But I, the Lord, set a new thing in place, and this is a new year for you. Your everything starts over. It may be April, it may be May, it may be whatever month, but I say this is a new beginning. And I'm going to set you on solid ground, and this is what we're going to do. You have been promised something that is in you. You are the promise. It's not that you've been promised something, you are the promise. And when you recognize that, when you recognize who you are, you will be refreshed, and a new thing has happened, and you will see that because that it describing who you are. Does anybody else want to address that? Nobody?
No, I was just going to say, Ron, in terms of Angela, it is the month of April, Abib. You know,
Okay.
that is the month of April, and I think that in terms of how we see time, in terms of seasons, is like again, knowing when Pastor talked about the equinox and just realizing that the calendars vary, but at the same time, again, just knowing that through nature, it teaches us times and seasons. So again, what might have been January could have been March, with regards to what we may have read in the Bible in terms of the different biblical stories. So, but as you said, it just comes down to that point of knowing who we are and just being able to receive in that season and time, what we need to move on to do or to be prepared to do. I'm done.
And that what you explain it kind of supports that too, because April is is the new season, is the planting, is the point when the flowers are blooming, and new life is sprouting and coming forth. So it is a refreshing new life. Yeah,
New life and new beginnings.
beginnings. So to answer this and look at your question, Angela, and the question that Evelyn had, this explains us. It talks about us and who and what we are. And I hope that we see the empowering aspect of it. It's not so much you get out there running the streets and we're running waiting for something to happen. It's just that you breathe. You take your time and you breathe. And when things happen, as Kathy said, we sit with it until you feel something to do, whatever direction you were to move in. When somebody says something out of the way to you, you breathe. You breathe. And sitting with it doesn't mean you always got to take it home, but you just use your wisdom. Use your
I think
wisdom.
you kind of just added more to Evelyn's question about, she said she's feeling different, but I think it's partly because when you move to a new place in your consciousness, maybe you didn't, sometimes it might feel like you're not quite sure where to go, which way to go, but I think you're right. You sit with it and you breathe, because, you know, you're sprouting again.
Yeah.
You're beginning again. It's a new season. So you sit with it, you breathe, and you let the sprouts come up. And you'll eventually know which way to go or what to do or whatever, as long as you're staying true to yourself.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Evelyn, does that help?
Yes, sir. That helps. Thank you.
Angela?
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Thank you guys for the questions. The questions have energy, and they're things that we need to put out there. They're things we need to talk about. Okay, anyone else? I had one thing. If you guys done, do you not want to go into anything else? If you don't, we're fine. Do you want to call it a night? Is this something you want to sit on? If you do, that's fine. I just want to say, let us not forget meditation. That's where we are now. Let us see ourselves.
And Ron, this is Evelyn again. For some reason, that's a song that's in my head.
Oh.
That is I just keep hearing meditation. And I don't have to sit in my room quietly, or I can be out in the park, on the porch, in my car, at my desk. But that's the song that I'm hearing lately. And I said, okay, Source, I hear you. So yeah, that's the time we're in, I believe. Meditation. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna read something if nobody else has anything, and can I do this in 10 minutes, y'all? I'm looking at Psalm 139, verses 1 through 6. It says, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up, and understand my thoughts from afar. You scrutinize my path and my lying down, and are intimately acquainted with all my ways. Even before there was a word on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it all. You have enclosed me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is too high. I cannot obtain it." That's verses 1 through 6. There is 2 words there I wanted to talk about, because Pastor mentioned intimacy yesterday, and that got me to thinking, and I want to talk about that. The verses 1 through 5 there, the word intimacy, the word know K-N-O-W, is yada, Y-A-D-A. And yada means yada is the one I said he talks about a cultivating of space. In other words, that never ends. You're always, if you know, especially if you're a mom, that you're always making space for their children. I don't care if your children are 30 years old. You're always thinking about your children and whatever their needs, and hoping and praying that they're okay. And looking at yada, yada is talking about it's talking about to know, to perceive, to understand something. It talks about to move to a place of recognition, spiritually and emotionally, recognizing who we are, looking and seeing yourself. Look inside and see yourself, knowing that these worlds come together. The world that I struggled in when I saw myself as a human, or as it through my religious eyes, or whatever how you saw yourself. I see that now differently, because that is in I see the value of what I have learned and what I've become. And as Kathy say, what has been revealed to me as to who I am. The other word in verse 6 is dyad. It's talking about an experience. And it too is talking about understanding, but it's talking about, it involves wisdom and discernment and how to apply it. For those of us, and I'm talking primarily to the teachers now, who remember studied the tree of life, you remember dyad was the 11th of those attributes, and it stood below wisdom and understanding. So dyad is that experience. Dyad is that part that says, okay, I've been here before, or I've tried to teach this way. Let me look at another way. Or okay, Holy Spirit, okay, a higher self, show me. Show me how to do this. Show me how to communicate. Show me how to bring a nation together. So when you look at self, this is nothing more. This poem or this psalm is nothing more than taking a look inside of yourself. And when he talked about, oh God, he's describing the path that has come through him. I see what you've done with me. I'm looking back now and I see this and all the things, this journey that I've taken. I see where I am. I recognize myself. And why is this important? Because of where we are. Recognizing yourself, knowing who you are, and what's out there, and knowing that things are going to form. The things that are going to form, the things that we're going to see happen, are only going to happen so that we can be empowered to move forward. All these things that look powerful, all these things that we made, these expectations we have, you brought them into play. This is a part of plowing or cultivating the ground. Keep love in your heart. Keep compassion in you, and you're cultivating not to destroy the field, but so that you can grow more love and compassion. So all of this is a part of our actions. When you see it, don't be afraid of it. It is you in motion. So I just thought that kind of goes hand in hand as we look at this new year and we think about what is coming. Nothing's coming that we cannot handle. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. And I think, Ron, when you
Yes.
mention the word to know, or you mention yada, it speaks about the point not only just to know, but to learn,
Yeah.
to perceive, and to see with your eye and find out and discern. And as we discern, that which we are receiving, that's all in knowing. Know
Oh,
thyself,
yes.
what you need to know. I just want to share those thoughts.
Thank you, George. Pastor mentioned something yesterday that I thought was very important. He talked about you're having a friend or meeting people that are close to you. Someone may be drawn to you that is not a husband or a wife or even related to you. It may be another female, it may be another male, but they feel your energy. And you guys are going to have an intimate relationship. Why? Because they share things with you. They're going to let you in rooms, and when I say rooms, I'm talking about in their hearts. They're going to let you in rooms that they don't let other people in. They're going to share things with you, intimate things. And you're going to have opportunity to build these relationships. That is who you are. We have those intimate in locking things that happen to us all the time. And sometimes we don't recognize it until we walk away. But anyway, I just want to talk about intimacy. I thought that was I still think that's a major part of who we are and where we are, and something to keep in the forefront of our thoughts as we walk into this new place that we are right now. Okay, any thoughts or questions before we call it an evening? Okay, well, guys, thank you. Appreciate your energy. Appreciate all your questions. Be careful if you're going out somewhere this week. This Wednesday, Tuesday night or Wednesday, y'all be careful and be safe and look forward to Saturday. Okay, thanks again.
All right, take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.